Welcome back to the channel. Another episode of Who Should You Choose, the video series where I go through the prior videos, questions, and comments and help you with your HUT lineup decisions. Decided to do a little bit of a later episode, maybe get some of the later folks that are, maybe at work at night, give them a chance to get some comments in before we do the episode tomorrow as well. So with that being said, let's get into it. Before we begin, actually, though, I do want to mention that it looks like they added a pretty a tradable gold arena pack in the store for like 80,000 coins. I wouldn't recommend buying it, but go ahead on the auction house and take a look at the arenas there if you want one. Like, for example, I got the Sharks one for like 30,000 coins. So just have an eye. I wouldn't buy the pack. But there has been enough bought that it looks like there's some on the auction house. So I just wanted to give you guys a heads up on that. All right, let's get into it. First comment today. Sleeves, I'm on a crunch for XP. What are my best methods to gain it quickly? I already completed all of the weekly XP objectives. Also, will there be one more week of new objectives before the season's end? So, the best way to get XP, unfortunately, is squad battles at 4-minute periods, and you got to win. But it's super monotonous. Secondly, there will be a week 8 of the objective path, so you'll get another 45,000 from that. So make sure that you complete that. Ekans, I think it's Ekans, says, "Hey Sleeves, first things first, do you think EA will ever address the L2 cheese that is currently at play? I'm a 13 to 15 champs player, Div 2, and see it decently often. I feel as if you aren't doing it, you aren't winning. I took the time to teach myself, and I get at least 2-3 goals per game that just don't seem fair and are impossible to stop because there's so many different options you can go from the cheese. I'm referring to coming down the left wall with a lefty, putting the puck on the forehand and flicking the stick right while holding L2 and driving there. You can always protect it, slam the door because the animation, yada, yada, yada." Yeah, this happens every year. There's usually something like this, and in 23, there was no patches. In 24, there was a ton of patches. I hope that they will find a way to address this. My guess would be they don't know, or it will take a long time because the next-gen vision control is newer, and they reworked like L2 and how it works and things like that. So it probably will take a while for that to go. In my opinion, it's something that is the difference between playing the game of hockey and playing the game of NHL. Whereas if it's all about winning and getting to Division 1 and HUT champs and rewards and all of that, that's the skill gap and the mentality that you have to do. I personally I hate doing things that don't happen in real life. Even the D2D one-timers are a little cringy, but at least it's a play that can go in real life. The L2 stuff I just avoid, so. Just recently, my second line starts the game. I have no idea how to change it. Has this happened to anyone else? So what you do is you go to your settings and your strategies. You go to your strategies and it'll say starting line. It'll be in one of the options there. It'll say starting line. Make sure it's set to line 1. Hey Sleeves, I have a lineup question for you. In a previous video, you had referred to my comment and said I had zigged when everyone else had zagged. I think this has caught up to me a little bit. Based on what I had done related to the events, I've loaded up my offense while allowing my defense to suffer. I was hoping to see improvements from Seth Jones as well as OEL, but now, with Jones now on IR and OEL basically disappearing, I'm regretting not making my favorite team's fantasy player, Sanheim. Ugh. If your favorite player, that's tough. Seth Jones' fantasy card is sneaky good, having Heat Seeker available 83, so it sucks he got injured. Currently, my decor is cover athlete Makar, Supernatural Chara, Drysdale, and Forsling. Line 2, Sergachev, and Brody. This is the free B and D84. I missed Bowmeister in favor of Crosby from the Off the Charts event. I already have Mitchkov from the Next Gen event, and I'm saving up to get Celebrini, but should I pivot to Hudson? Having him being a liability in the defensive zone is a turnoff. Any cards you would recommend going after to fill out my second and third pair defensemen? Love the content. I'm enjoying NHL 25 very much this season, and it is in part to you and your content overall. You are a huge reason my son and I are enjoying hockey this season, both on and off the ice. Man, I love to hear that, man. Thank you so much. Yeah, that was tough, right? Because it looked like defensemen were just the way to go early on, and I'm the exact opposite, right? I'm struggling to find some forwards. I would not pivot to Hudson unless you really like Hudson as a player. Some other players some of the event cards that are pretty good, like is it the Supernatural Owen Power? There's an Owen Power card. I think it's 84 overall. It looks pretty good. So it'd be cards like that that I would look to. This is what happens when I record the video at 7 p.m. at night. I'm already exhausted. Well, dad hours, fellas. Hi, slaves. Two questions. One, would you change Mac Supernatural for Mac Team of the Week? Two, I made three cover athletes. The first two, Makar and Forsberg, are amazing. The third, Stamkos, I think I've played twice. What do I do with them? P.S. Great content. Value wise, I wouldn't change Supernatural McKinnon for Team of the Week. McKinnon just way too expensive. That being said, someone that I trust, their experience. They said that this Team of the Week one was way better. I personally wouldn't. It's just so much value, like bad value. I made three cover athletes, Makar and Forsberg. Stamkos has been great for me at center. He wasn't early on, but he's got a good faceoff rating, and I just played him at center, and now he's like one of my more trustworthy centers. Yeah, the matchmaking out west is wild. I'm a low div 2 player, and I matched against Sapster, and I got killed 13-1. Actually felt like such a plug. Well, you matched one of the best players in the world. There was a talk that I did in one of these episodes about a month ago, or maybe a couple weeks ago, about how the West Coast has a little bit easier because of the lesser player base. This is the issue. So let's say you're not Gritto. I don't want to say you're a bad player or anything like that. Let's just say you're a Division 2 or Division 3 player. If you're a very good West Coast player, you're more than likely to match up with you, even if you have a good record, because you can't match up with anyone else in the East Coast or anything like that, right? So players that are very good, they get to just eat when they're on the West Coast or, Texas or West Coast Canada, that kind of thing. Next up says objectives should be more passive, or I'll even settle for removed/increased expirations. In Madden, you just need to have X event players in your lineup, and all the stats accrue and credited regardless what player generates them. Oh my god, that'd be great. Ugh. All the stats accrue and credit regardless of who generates them. I get the mentality that it helps to make event cards relevant, valuable, and force their usage, but it's too much to need 30 goals or assists for each event objective. You're forced to play through certain players and are not allowed to play the way you want. By the time you finish, you're exhausted, frustrated, the next objective set is up, and rinse and repeat, you never play with the actual team you want to build. I don't play a ton of Madden, so that's a great way to fix the issue that's going on right now. In response to the commenter that mentioning changing of the lines from your last episode, I started making multiple lines, each with different labels to differentiate when to use them. One I have for completing events like Team of the Week, Game Breakers, NHL team themes, daily, or events. Then I have a squad battle that has my favorite players it's not lines, you're talking about lineups. And when you're creating multiple lineups. That line will be primarily focused on weekly and moments. With both lines, I use the same players who give me the best chance, but I also started building a Young Guns line with a mix of young players from Milestones, Team of the Week, Next Gen, and any other cards that were good young players. Kind of like developing NHL players. That way, I'm not having to constantly adapt to set my lines because of one or two players. Plus, it makes it completing games that much faster. I've held on to most of the special cards and players from NHL teams that have not been highlighted yet each week. I hope that helps. Question: do you think X Factor Season 1 or 2... Season 1 or the Icon, the Modern or Vintage, will be relevant over the long run? Since these will not upgrade over time, should I continue to make these or wait to see if new players are released? So, the captains, the X Factor captains, so Kucherov, Nylander, Fox, and Heiskin, those will upgrade when they get a new card released, whenever, God forbid, whenever that is. So will holograms, but the Vintage and those other icons, they're not. I don't know what you would use them for other than trading them in for a hologram or a captain, so there's no harm in keeping them. Wild card this week is the worst game mode I've ever played. Yeah. It's tough because the mascot thing in wild card, it's dumb, it's supposed to be just for fun. Wild card is not just a pure fun mode. It is somewhat competitive. This is what I talked about in the last couple episodes. Wildcard has no identity. It's trying to be somewhat competitive and somewhat like just arcadey, whatever, And this is what happens. You put, big furry mascots into the game, and now you got to play shell, and it's like, okay, cool, but it's for winning is the only way you advance faster. So everyone's trying to win. It's a serious game in that sense, and it's just like. Wild card, it sucks because the content creators, myself included, and majority of the player base asked for a draft style mode. And we got a draft style mode. And it just isn't being executed anywhere I don't think what we wanted, or And now it's like, is the content team or is the dev team going to be like, look, we gave you what you want, you don't want it, and it's like, kind of like, but not really. It's frustrating, man. It's frustrating. How goes it, Sleeves? You mentioned the show's BR as a design for online mode for future NHL games. What are your thoughts about mini-season modes taking the place of squad battles? I'd love to have my team play a short season and then battle it out in the playoffs for the cup, gaining XP and rewards along the way, as well as with an unreleased MSP for winning the season in the playoffs. Thoughts? I've said this for about 3 years now. Squad battles should be a 16-game season, and you've got a President's Trophy and objectives to hit. And let's say you start a season. It's 16 games long. You can do it as many times as you want. 16 game season. And you start with 10 cards that are flipped over. You don't know what they are, okay? Every time you hit a milestone or do something, it unlocks one of the cards. In one of those cards is an 85 overall player, but you don't know where he is. And if you play out the entire season, you get the President's Trophy. You have the league's leading scorer. You win a playoff round. You win the cup, right? You unlock all but, like, let's say 2 that are uncovered so that you get the best chance possible at pulling that card, right? And I think that'd be really fun because I think that one of the things that players want is something like franchise mode, right? And mini seasons would be like that where you could play, especially if you're an offline player. It would just be way more fun than what we have now. Hey, Slaves, can you explain why in some games my players seem slower, don't hustle, don't move, and the game is just meant to lose, and in other games they're just flying on the ice, super aggressive, intercepting almost every puck, and easy win? Is that could be a reason why I sucked in other players' server? I play in Germany, never had better ping than 14. Well, you have better ping than I do. Some of it is going to be ping related. So regardless of what your home server it is, so I'll use mine as an example. If I match someone from Toronto and we match on the Quebec server, we're both getting roughly 20, which is fine, right? Then there's going to be games where I'm matching someone from Quebec and they get 2 and I'm on 20. That's a big difference, right? That's where you'll notice it. When I notice that ping is an issue is when I lose a face-off when I did the counter. That is kind of my tell that I know that that's because of a ping issue, right? In other instances, man, it could just be someone's matched up with you that plays you really well. Like, everyone has habits, regardless of how good of a player, good or bad of a player you are. Sometimes players just match up better. There's pro players that I beat 50% of the time where I have no business doing it, but it's just simply because I play them well. And then there's guys that, like, I can't even get the puck, right? And that's kind of normal. I don't think that, like, when the game starts, it's like this person's meant to lose. I don't think that's in there, right? Does anyone know if there will be another week of the weekly XP? Yes, it will go to 8. There is 8. I have a tip that people may not have thought of. Because the MSPs last 27 days, use your free... Oh, this is in regards to the next-gen event being 27 days in sets. I have a tip that people may not have thought of. Because the MSPs last 27 days, use your free cards that the game gives you. Then after you finish all the objectives, you make your MSP. I have 4 next-gen players, and I will have 8 after I finish all the objectives and wildcards. Same for the 2 weeks, then make your MSP. Yeah, I think that's for sure. I think that's what a lot of people are doing. Like, I would do the moments first, get a couple cards in your lineup, do wild card, get that out of the way, get the 2 cards from that, and then just grind your squad battles or put your cards in rivals. I don't know if you can manage that. And then for sure, make sure you get all the free stuff. You have a lot more time now because it isn't weekly. It's you got a month basically to make these. Hey, Nosleys, I really hope you have an answer for this. I'm not great, but I'm not bad. I'm winning more than I lose in rivals, but I just played a game against a ridiculously low overall team. Like, his best card was 82 burns and a ton of 70, 74, and they beat me 3-2. They were all over the ice, and I had a single breakaway. How is that possible? I have a stacked team for no money spent, and I didn't feel like he was always in the right place at the right time. It felt like any bad puck luck there could be was coming my way. What gives? This has always been like a tinfoil hat thing. I know that there is luck coded into the game. Like, there has to be. Think about it. When your stick breaks, what determines that, right? Luck, random. It's completely random, right? Just like in real life hockey, there is randomness, right? So I don't know how you code that, right? I don't know if every single shot or every single pass has a calculation to it. And it's like, oh, this didn't roll high enough, right? I don't know that. And I don't think they code in ice tilt on purpose. I don't. You could have just played a very good player and it just you saw their bad team and you play down to it. Something that I do all the time is if I don't know the player's tag, I play awful. But if I know the person's tag, I go all out. It's tough, man. But in hockey, like it's frustrating because like in hockey, randomness happens all the time. It's the hardest sport to bet on. It's the least predictable, right? Think of even just in game, like how random it is. And the video game has aspects of that. It's tough in a video game. I'm glad you mentioned the controller thing because I've been having the same issues as well. And at first I thought it was me until I played NHL 25 at a friend's house on Xbox and didn't have the same issues and was able to do all the same moves and scored more. I got a brand new controller and then all the problems went away for a while, but I noticed that I score 3 times as much goals when plugged in against Bluetooth. I wasn't able to reverse check some games. I'd be able to get a shot off and it was driving me nuts. Guys, again, there's no way for me to prove this on Xbox or PlayStation. I can only attest to my own personal experience with PlayStation 5. If you play on Bluetooth, there will be a slight latency, very small, but because of all the inputs you do when playing NHL, if you play at a high level, it is going to affect your gameplay. And when you plug it in, I use a USB-C to USB-C cable. Got it on Amazon. Just Google PS5 USB-C to USB-C. I think it cost me like $21. It's a brand new one, and it's like all the movements are way snappier, and what you in this game you need the movements to be snappier. Bonjour, slaves. Pram here. What do you think? Why do you think communication with the player base has been so limited? I believe the community would be far more understanding of the various explanations, chores, XP, progression, rewards, etc., if we were given some sort of explanation. Even if it wasn't what we wanted to hear, the lack of transparency around the decision has only been fueled the animosity towards EA. I think that requires time and it requires a lot of preparation before doing so. Think of it like this, guys. If they were to come out and communicate, this is our content strategy and what's going to happen for the next 2 months. They say this. What happens if something doesn't work or we don't like it or, X, Y, and Z. And now they are stuck to this thing because this is what they said. It's unfortunate because there should be way more communication. I firmly believe that all the negative hatred towards the XP path and stuff would have been so much less in the first 2 weeks had we just known that the rewards in XP were not meant to be rivals and squad battles like it seemed, because they just let us run with that idea and that it would all be in objectives and moments. We wouldn't have loved that either, but it wouldn't have been so bad because we saw the XP path and said we're just never getting anything. And, I don't know. I don't work for the company. I don't see the financials. I don't see how their leadership structure is or where the roles are and all of that, right? I can just tell from my own personal experience that like it would go so much further. Good day from Australia, sleeves. Very basic question, but how can I get better at the game? I love hockey and playing NHL, but it's not very popular here in Australia. It's great to have content to watch. I play Rivals and I'm 122-2, and I just can't seem to win. Not sure if it's the lag or if I just suck. I know it's a broad question, but would love any advice. Brother, go and look at your ping. You're in Australia. I can't imagine it's good. If you have like 100, anything more than 80, you are at such a significant disadvantage that you're probably just not going to win. One way around it, if you really want to play hockey, would be to play Versus, because it's peer-to-peer, which you'll destroy whoever you match up with just because their connection would be just as bad as yours. But if it's decent ping, anything under 50, right? Watch my strategies and settings video. Wildcard mascot to the last straw. I'm done until season 2. If season 2 is bad, I'm done. It sounds like a lot of the player base is like this. With that same sentiment that the XP path for season 2, if it isn't good, we're in a lot of trouble because even myself, right? Like I know I can tell interest, I can see my numbers, right? And some of that's on me, but I can tell general interest is not where it was in prior years, and I don't know if that's just fatigue or what, or if the changes are really just awful, and a lot of them have been. Again, I think that some of the changes will be good in the long run, but. God, this next XP path, like I said, if I had free reign and I would, if I could communicate with them, I would tell them, you marketed the game as play as you want. We are not able to do so and build the team that we are looking to build. So please allow us to do so. The XP path replaced all of the weekly rewards. Make it rewarding. All you've got to do, make it a 200 tiers, whatever you got to make it. You give us enough base X factors to make one captain, just one, not four, one. Give us enough power up icons to make one hologram, not multiple, just one. Team builders, give us 6 team builders at 83 overall, so we can make an 86. Give us 75 and above player packs, 5 or 3 to 5 of them, doesn't matter, in a pack that are untradeable, but 75 and above player items every 5 tiers even. Okay, so that we can use them in sets and where we want to use them. Give us gold jerseys every few packs, every 20 packs. Give us a gold arena choice pack. You know, they just do that, and then include the chase card at the very end. I think Eichel was a great thing, and the XP card where we got the 5 pack and we could upgrade the ones we want. You include all that, and the XP path is worth it. If the most rewarding thing in the game, though, is these weekly objectives and moments, like, God, man, I don't want to play moments 5 days of the week just so I can play Rivals once. And then the argument would be, well, why don't you just not do that? And then it's like, okay, but, like, how am I supposed to improve my team vastly? It's not set up to do so, you know? And it's just, that part's frustrating. So, anyways, that's going to do it for this episode of Who Should You Choose, guys. Again, later episode, I apologize. I will see you guys tomorrow, and have a good one.